Happy December 31st, the last day of 2024, and what a year it was. Welcome to MicroStrategy. Today, we'll be talking about MicroStrategy decoupling from Bitcoin, question mark, the bulls versus the bears. We'll be talking about some great predictive models for MicroStrategy. I have an epic clip of Michael Saylor when he gets asked a question about a 2% allocation of Bitcoin, and oh, so much more. Please don't forget that these are my opinions only. This is not financial advice. And let's dive in to the MSTR tracker because we haven't hit that up in a minute over the weekend. The stock price ended yesterday at $302. With Bitcoin being up a little bit right now, we are seeing the MicroStrategy pre-markets up as well. We'll see what happens when it opens, of course. We have a 135 ranking out of 500. The Bitcoin price is at 94,000 as I'm recording here. The Bitcoin balance is up to 446,400 Bitcoin because once again, Michael Saylor bought Bitcoin and it was a sight to behold. We'll be talking more details about that. That brings our Bitcoin value per basic share to $171. The NAV premium is down at 1.77. Like, wow, what an amazing opportunity, in my opinion. The unrealized profit loss is 14 billion with a return of 50%. And the yield, Bitcoin yield to date is still at a healthy 74% for all of us shareholders. And I do have an exciting announcement, actually, now that I'm on the tracker right now. The creator of this tracker has agreed to jump on a call with me. We're doing it next week. We'll be going through every single metric and charts here on the MSTR tracker. It's going to be a lot of fun. So look out for that next week. And you're just going to have a lot better understanding after that conversation, as will I, by the way, about all the awesomeness that is on this with the charts and the graphs and the new Saylor charts over here and so many cool things. So looking forward to that, my friends. Let's go into MicroStrategy's stock forecast for 2025. Will MSTR hit $400 soon? And this just goes into what's been happening with the stock. And of course, with Bitcoin, will it hit 400? And then this is where we're going to talk a little bit later about Michael Saylor acquiring even more Bitcoin, because guess what? He has a strategy and he executes upon that strategy. And guess what? If the greater market doesn't get it, that's a great opportunity for you and for me to know that we're here early, we get it, we're excited, and all we need on our side is time, my friends. Let's talk about here's why MicroStrategy stock is down 20% amid Bitcoin bets. And the highlights are the MicroStrategy stock is down, decoupling from Bitcoin's growth. Investor insights show the stock dilution proposal is driving cautious bets. MicroStrategy's rebound is imminent amid bold Bitcoin rebound projections. So obviously, there's a lot of interesting things about this article. I won't get into super detail. I will post it in the show notes if you want to check it out yourself. But is it decoupling from Bitcoin's growth to the downside? Well, my actual challenge would be, because I've been studying MicroStrategy for some time now, is that back in the September timeframe, it's decoupled from Bitcoin massively to the upside. Because guess what? A lot of really smart people in September and October, they figured out MicroStrategy and they figured out how undervalued it was when it was down at 135, 145, 195, 225. They recognized that. And what did they do? They bought massively and they drove MicroStrategy's price way above the 1.5% X leverage that Michael Saylor is striving for here, way above that. And what happened? The stock got overheated, as things do. And so now, in my opinion, things are just coming back down into reality as MicroStrategy is recoupling, in my opinion, with Bitcoin, getting ready for its lockstep as we go into 2025, which I think is going to be a fantastic year. And I'm really excited about it due to a ton of catalysts that we have talked about on this channel and we'll continue to talk about in future videos for sure. So in my opinion, anybody that's talking about decoupling has been here for 2 weeks and they just are looking at that 2-week stretch. I'm looking at it like this is a recoupling. This is Bitcoin getting back to where it really should have been the whole time after being way overheated and going up from $135 in like mid-September to $540. Well, did Bitcoin make a 3 or 4x move? No. So why did MicroStrategy make such a huge move? The recoupling is happening. I'm excited about the future for sure. Let's get into this. This is the Michael Saylor specific tweet where he says, MicroStrategy has acquired 2,138 Bitcoin for $209 million at 97,000 per Bitcoin. It has achieved a Bitcoin yield of 47.8% for the quarter and 74.1% for the year. They hodl 446,400 Bitcoin acquired for 27.9 billion at an average price of 62,428 per Bitcoin. Boom. Let's talk about this post by Ben Workman. He says, continued execution each week through the end of the quarter. As of this morning, there is 6.88 billion left on the ATM. That's out of 21 billion, by the way. So he's basically used, what's that? Close to 10, 17, 14 million of the 21 million, basically 14 billion of the 21 billion that he had for the ATM. So we'll see what happens until the next earnings report, where they're probably going to announce a massive ATM plan for 2025 and a massive convertible notes and convertible bonds plan for 2025. And hopefully a couple other great surprises that I know Michael Saylor and MicroStrategy have up their sleeve. So he writes, quite the year we had. Looking forward to what 2025 will bring. As am I, Ben. As am I. Here's one of the bear sightings that we had. This individual, Martin, engagement farming, doing his thing. He says, MSTR at under $300. We will liquidate you and take Bitcoin to 250,000 without Saylor. Poetic justice. The best thing Saylor can do is shore, pun intended, up his balance sheet. And if Bitcoin goes to $250,000, which Martin thinks, and which I think as well, by the way, what's a company with 446,000 Bitcoin going to do on their balance sheets? I know the answer to myself is pretty obvious and likely to you as well. So we just need to look at these and say, hey, these individuals are just artificially keeping MicroStrategy stock lower for now, giving people like us an opportunity to invest more at these great prices for what we're both expecting and hoping is going to be a great 2025. Let's talk about the Bitcoin therapist. People are overestimating what MicroStrategy will be worth in a month, and they're underestimating what it will be worth in a decade. If you are thinking in 1 month increments, in 1 week increments, in 1 day increments, this stock is not for you, my friends. This stock is volatile by design. Michael Saylor and MicroStrategy designed this stock to be volatile by design. That is why it is so valuable in the convertible bond market. That is why it is so valuable to institutions and all the instruments that Michael Saylor is going to create as the Bitcoin treasury company of the world, because volatility is a feature, not a bug. Let's talk about the Bitcoin therapist again. He writes, MicroStrategy has increased their Bitcoin stack by 194,180 BTC in the last quarter. Just in the last quarter, Michael Saylor has stacked almost 200,000 Bitcoin. Relentless savage, my friends. So again, if you believe in the thesis of Bitcoin as Michael Saylor does, as I do, as I'm assuming a lot of you do, which is how you got to MicroStrategy, let's just sit back, relax. Let's not have a 1 month timeline. Let's have a 5-year timeline. Let's have a decade timeline. Can we wait that long to reap epic rewards? We'll see. BitStrategy says, I've analyzed and aggregated the total MSTR shareholdings of all bears posting on X. In my best estimates of the thousands of new accounts we can see posting bearish nonsense about MSTR, they hold a grand total of 14 shares. Total, not each. In contrast, the bulls, you, me, we hold over 1 million shares and counting. Exciting times, my friends, because guess what? When things like this happen, when volatility happens to the upside and the downside, people appear out of nowhere and they're just, listen, they're trying to get likes and comments and engagement so they can get paid a couple dollars by Twitter for that engagement. It's called engagement farming. It's real. They're not creating real content, what they believe in. They're just creating what they think people are going to interact and engage with. BitStrategy says, Saylor, our business model is to have extreme volatility in our stock price. Extreme volatility in MicroStrategy price occurs. MSTR critics, there's been volatility. Saylor's business model is broken because they've done no research. They have done no research. They have no clue. They are engagement farming because what's the reality? The reality is MicroStrategy is doing exactly what Michael Saylor wants it to do, and that is be volatile to the upside and to the downside. That's a healthy stock in the model that Michael Saylor has created. Puncher Jeff says, MicroStrategy is the most powerful company on the planet for the next century plus. The market largely doesn't understand it yet, but they will. If you don't get it, that's okay. Everybody gets MicroStrategy at the market cap they deserve. Higher. My friends, I will just say this. It's a little bit of a repetition from what I shared earlier, but it is the reality. The market does not understand MicroStrategy. This might be the 10th time that you, the viewer here who's watching this, has discovered something early, or this might be the first time. Whether it's your 10th time or your 100th time discovering something early or your first time, congratulations, because on this one, in my opinion, you are so early. The market does not understand this. I mean, in September, that was so obvious that all of the market didn't understand it, which is why it went on the epic run from 130 to 540, which is just insane in like a month plus. So yes, it came back to earth a little bit because of the volatility. Again, volatility to the upside, volatility to the downside. Be proud of yourself. You are so early. Chris says, MicroStrategy is currently undervalued by a factor of 11x based on my model. It should be trading at $3,500. You can download the model and plug in your own numbers here. And then he gives this link, and I will post this tweet with this link in the show notes if you want to check it out. But it's a pretty cool model. Obviously, it's very bullish, but hey, why not have some fun and be bullish? Because if we're just hanging around, let's be bullish. And then Chris follows up by saying, no one wants MicroStrategy at 300. Everyone will still want MicroStrategy at, let me repeat that. No one wants MicroStrategy at 300. Everyone will want MicroStrategy at 3,000. Do you understand? I understand that. Everybody's going to be clamoring for MicroStrategy at 3,000 and being like, you had an opportunity to buy at 300. They're going to look at you aghast, in my opinion. Now I have a great video clip, as promised, of Michael Saylor. This is a really fun one, in my opinion, when he gets to talk about different allocation levels of MicroStrategy. Is 2%, or I should say of Bitcoin, is 2% the right maneuver for Bitcoin to allocate to your portfolio? And the fun begins immediately. So Saylor, take it away.
But for like a Microsoft, like should they be doing 2%? Like, or should they be plowing a lot more in, right? I mean, I've seen the talks.
I think 2% is silly. I think traditional financial advisors that want to work Bitcoin into their talk script so they sound cool and
right,
at
adding
the
1 or 2%
progressive edge
can
say
improve the
1 or
Sharp
2.
and whatnot.
That's buying an insurance policy, right? That's like me pitching you on life insurance just in case. I mean, it's not a way to live. It's not a, you're not going to, live joyfully forever and put your family, you're not going to provide generational wealth for your family and put your kids through college and get a yacht and a third vacation home and be universally idolized because you bought flood insurance, right? So, I'm not against buying insurance or auto insurance. I just think not that interesting. Here's my view on Microsoft, and this is the same for pretty much every company, certainly the Magnificent Seven. You have a good company, you're generating cash flow, a lot of cash. Investors invested their money in you, so now your choice is you can invest in the core business to grow the business. You can, but let's assume you're investing as much as you can come up with, and then the cash flow you've got that's excess, you just don't know how to grow the P&L anymore. Well, then you either hold it as bonds on your balance sheet, you pay it out as a dividend, you buy your stock back, or you go and you do a merger and you pay cash for the merger. And so we tick those off. Doing mergers and acquisitions, 90% to 95% failure rate, right? I mean, HP did a disastrous acquisition. I mean, the number of disastrous acquisitions where the company's overvalued by 2 to 10. Most. Like, if I were to say 5% of the acquisitions are successful economically, I think I might be overstating the case, but I'd be very optimistic. But I'm sure 90 to 95% are a disaster.
And there you have it, my friends. Another episode of MicroStrategy Today, the last episode of 2024 as we close down a great year and look forward, in my opinion, to an even greater year. These shows are coming out every single day, 7 days a week, Saturdays, Sundays, holidays. There'll be an episode tomorrow for you. I'm going to wake up on New Year's Day and create an episode for you. So if you appreciate my commitment, I would appreciate a subscribe. They mean so much. Comments are lifeblood and likes are lifeblood. The comment section is so much fun. I'm actually collecting all the comments from every video and compiling a great list of where MicroStrategy investors are from, and it's international. So take a second, comment below where you're watching from right now. I will interact with it. I will gather that data, and it will be a great episode to go over some of these things in the near future. And my friends, check out the complete history of MicroStrategy. It'll be popping up right here if it hasn't already. I spent an hour and 40 minutes recording this. And actually, I spent weeks recording it and compressed it into an hour and 40-minute video of the complete history of MicroStrategy. You can hit play on this. It's going to be right there in a second. And the subscribe button will be right here, I believe. So check that out. And as Michael Saylor says, there is no second best.